Hi friends, now we are going to discuss the topic is if else, okay, in Python language. So based on this if else condition, we can segregate it as different conditions. One is Python condition and if statement. If statement. Next one is indentation. Next one is else if, only else, shorthand if else, and or nested if, okay, the past statement, like that we can do. So now we are talking about that step by step expression is this. The first one is Python conditions and if statements. What are the various types of these Python conditions? Generally we prefer that it can be represented as different expressions. One is equals. So how can you define that equals? That it can be represented in terms of this. For example, if you take a variable is equal to, symbol is like this. Here a is equal to b. Next one is not equal. Not equal symbol is, generally we prefer that a not is equal to b. This is the meaning of this not equal. Here this is the symbol for equal symbol. Okay, similarly that next one is less than, and the fourth one less than or equal to. Next, greater than, this last one is greater than or equal to. So these are the actual various types. How can you define that less than symbol? You are taking that variable a, this is actual less than symbol, a less than b. Less than or equal to, that it can be replaced a less than or equal to b. Next, greater than is a greater than b. Next, greater than or equal to, a greater than or equal to b. These are the various types of conditions. So these conditions can be used in several ways, most commonly in if statement or loops. Okay, widely prefer this condition. For example, if statement, in this condition, these are the actual Python conditions we discussed. That if condition is represented with if. For example, now if you take that example is, how can you define that if statement? If statement can be represented with the particular example. If you take that a is equal to 50 and b is equal to 300, okay, then you are writing that if here, if you take b is greater than a, always after ending of this statement you have to use that colon symbol. Then you can write print of, if the condition is satisfied, then you can write in terms of that string is b is greater than a. So at the end of this you can conclude with double quotation or single quotation. So then this is the actual output for if statement. After that, after output you will get b is greater than a. Okay, next one is indentation. That is actual one type of syntax here. So simply that it is defined for this expression is this. Second one is indentation. That indentation is purely based on that. So that relies on identification. Identifications, or simply you can take that, you can calculate that white space white space at the beginning of a line. That is the main role of this. For example, here otherwise this concept is if statement without indentation, we will get an error. That indentation is you have to give a white space, okay, after completion of the first line of if statement. That is actual. So in this concept, this one is indentation. So after completion of that if statement, okay, you have to give one space, white space, without indentation. Indentation is purely based on white space here. Okay, we will raise an error. For example, if you take A is equal to 50, B is equal to 300, if B is greater than A. Okay, now below if statement you are writing that print. Okay, there is no space here. But in previous condition, here you have one space, that is actual white space. Then only you will get execution of the instruction. But in this instruction, you will get an error. So you will get an error after execution of this. So this is the main concept to before execution of this, you have to give at least one space. Okay. This instruction is else if, that is actual, that instruction name is ELIF. The ELIF is else if keyword is Python. A way of saying if previous condition were not true, previous conditions were not true, then we have to try the new condition. That is actual. So for example, if you take this, here A is equal to 33, B is equal to 33. Actually both are same. Now we are writing that if instruction B is greater than A. At the end of this you have to use colon. Okay, then print B is greater than A. But this condition was not satisfied. Then you have to use the next condition is if else. If A is equal to B, then you can write print A and B are equal. So this is the example for else if. Now a fourth example is else instruction. The else keyword catches anything which is not caught by the preceding conditions. Preceding conditions means previous conditions are not satisfied. For example, A is equal to 300, B is equal to 20. The first condition is if B is greater than A. Okay. Then you can write print B is greater than A. But here A value is 300, B value is 20. But that condition is not satisfied. Then you can take, this is if, else if the condition is failed, then what condition we are going to do? That is else if. If A is equal to B, print A and B are equal, but both are not same. So second instruction also fails. Next goes to, and last one is, what is the meaning of that? The else keyword catches anything which is not successfully verified. That's why you can take that else. So if you take if, else, at the end of this, you have to give the colons. Next, A is greater than B. That is actual instruction. After execution of this, you will get this type of result. Okay. So this is the example for else. Next one is shorthand if. What is the difference between if and shorthand if? So the definition of this shorthand if is if you have only one statement, to execute. Okay, you can put it on the same line as the if statement. For example, if, okay, in previous condition we have written as two lines like this here. Okay, that one is if, then you can write print, two lines we are using. But in this concept, if A less than B, print A is greater than B. So within the line you can, before that if you take that here, A is equal to 300 and B is equal to 20. Then 320, you can write if A is greater than B, then you can write. Within a single line you can write. This is actual shorthand if. Next one is shorthand if else. Shorthand if else. That is here, if you have only one statement to execute, one for if, one for else. Only one times you may use if and one times you may use else. You can put it all on the same line. All are can be represented in only one line. Here, for example, A is equal to 20, B is equal to 440. Now I am writing that if A is greater than B, A is greater than, if the condition is satisfied, you have to follow that first print A. Else, that will be print on B value. For execution of this line, the output for this line is, you will get the result will be B. Why? Because that A value is 20, B value is 440, that is A less than B. If the condition is satisfied, you will get A. That is the difference between these. So this type of technique is also called as ternary technique. This ternary operators or conditional operators. You can also have multiple else statement on the same line. So I mean, simply you are taking that multiple else statement on the same line. Okay. For example, multiple else on the same line. This is also called as one type of shorthand if else. Now we are taking that A is equal to 300, B is equal to 300. Now we are writing the instruction. The first one is if. First you have to consider if. That is followed by one statement. If A is greater than B, then you can followed by print A. Okay, but both are equal. Then else condition. Else followed by another if condition. So this is actual first step, that is followed by this. After execution of this, it is followed by print A. Else, that is followed by another if statement. If they say if condition is satisfied, condition is, that is nothing but yes, it is followed by this. This is followed by yes. If the condition is yes, it will be ghost. If the condition is yes, print is equal to. Else followed by this one is like that. This is actual no, like that. So finally, if A is equal to 300, B is equal to 300. If A is greater than B, no, this condition is not satisfied. Go to else condition. In else, another if condition. If both are equal, okay, that is printed as else, print B. Like that, you can take this. So this is the actual also called as here ternary operators. Next instruction is that AND instruction. So generally that AND Q is a logical operator. It is a logical operator, and AND is used to combine conditional statements. You have two conditional statements. So simply you are taking that A is equal to 250, B is equal to 30, C is equal to 550. We have different values. We have three variables. Now I am going to the first condition is A greater than B. But actually A is 250, B value is 30. This condition is satisfied. You are not only purely depend on this first statement, but also depend on second statement. So it combines two statements. What is the second condition is C is greater than A. So C value is 550, A value is 2. So you have to satisfy these two conditions. Then only you will be execute that print operation. So at this combining of two statements, we prefer this type of statement. That is the example for AND. Next one is OR statement. So this is also it is very similar to AND operation. But in AND operation, you have to follow, this is actual condition 1. This one is condition 1. And this is condition 2. You have to satisfy these two. You have to satisfy condition 1 and condition 2. That is the meaning of that AND operation. But OR operation is same definition. The OR, simply that AND is replaced by OR. The OR keyword is a logical operator and AND is replaced by OR. or is used to combine conditional statements. This used to combine conditional statement. What type of combine here? You have to follow either first case or second case, maybe both. Okay, so this is replaced by R. So this is the example for this. So A is equal to 250, B is equal to 30, C is equal to 550. If A is greater than B, yes, A is greater than B, or C is greater than A. If you satisfy any one of these, then only you will be get that both conditions are true. So that is the difference between and or. Once again I am going to repeat that. And operation is you have two conditions. You have to satisfy the two conditions. But or condition, you have to satisfy at least one condition. That meaning is at least one condition you need to true. You need to satisfy as true, like that we can take. For example, sometimes you may prefer this value is 100, C is equal to 100. Okay, here A is greater than B, 250 is greater than 30, yes, that condition is okay. But C value is, for example, if you take 100, what is the meaning of this? So this condition is not satisfied, but based on condition 1 you can execute this. So that is the meaning of R. That is the difference between and R value. Next instruction is nested if. What is the role of this nested if is, okay, you can have if statement. Actually you have if statement. Inside if statements, inside that you are using that many if statements. That is nothing but nested if statements. Okay, you can have if statement inside if statements. So for example, x is equal to 41. If x is greater than 10, at the end of this condition you have to use colon. Next, print above 10. Next one is if, once again we are going to take if x is greater than 20, then print. Within the if you have another if and you have else. The type of concept is nothing but nested if. Nested if statement. That is the main concept. After execution of this, you will be get that result will be, that it can be represented as your above 10 result will be that above 10 and also above 20. This is the actual result for this statement. Okay. Next one is the pass statement. What is the role of this pass statement? For example, that is actually the pass statement. If statement, in if statement cannot empty. Generally, if you write if, then that is concluded with so and so, that if and else like that. You have to have some instructions. Okay, but you don't have any message like that. So that, but if you for some reasons have an if statement with no content, for example, in previous condition you have if statement, it is a content. If you have a statement, if statement, you have a content. But in this instruction, if you have no content, at this moment you have to use pass. Otherwise you will be get an error. That is the difference between this. So after execution of this, having an empty if statement like this would raise an error without the pass statement. If you have pass statement, you don't have any error. That is the meaning of this. Okay, so if statement cannot empty, but if you for some reason have an if statement with no content, put in the pass statement to avoid getting an error. That is the conclusion for this. Okay, thank you.